What is it about your message, do you think, that infuriates certain people?
Well, my message is traditional masculinity. My message is to stand up and say what you mean and mean what you say. And even going to the gym nowadays is an act of defiance, because when you have a man who's built with any degree of principle, you say no to things. And I think if I have to analyze my message and why I'm so disliked by the people who dislike me, it's not the things I'm saying, it's the fact that if you adhere to my principles and you adhere to the things I say, you end up being the kind of person who will resist certain ideas. You say no. What kind of man never says no? Name a man who never says no. Men say no, right? Men wake up and say, no, I don't think that should be done this way. No, my children will not be taught that.
It's
no.
The father's primary job.
Absolutely. So when you say to men, listen, you're allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to have standards. You're allowed to have boundaries and barriers. You're allowed to get up and become important and work hard and try hard and become the kind of man who can't be controlled, then you're seen as an enemy. And especially with the massive influence I've gained, I think they look at me and go, he's helping men resist the slave programming. We don't need him around. We need to empty their brains so we can inject the slave programming and convince men to be eunuchs. Because once you're eunuched, then you're not a threat.
I think I buy that. Because your message, I'm not the world's expert on your message, but I've seen a lot of it, and it's not explicitly political, actually.
No, it's not political at all. And their original attack before this Matrix attack is they weaponized virtue, which is what they usually do. There's no genuine virtue inside of these people. They weaponize virtue. They find a virtue, they turn it into a bullet, and they shoot at you. I'm sure you know very well.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah. I was a misogynist for the longest time just for saying that men should have standards. If you tell a man he can have standards in a relationship in any way, you're a misogynist. It's actually very interesting because
what does that mean to have standards in a relationship?
But this is the thing that's so interesting about it, because they've gendered the argument when I never did. I said as a man, you shouldn't have a girlfriend who is a liar and a cheater, and you also shouldn't have male friends who are liars and cheaters. You shouldn't be around dishonest people,
yes,
male or female.
Amen.
And
Amen.
they gendered it and said, he's a misogynist. He's saying that men should only act this way with women, etc. I said that men should have standards, and you should have protocols that you're prepared to accept, and you should have hard parameters. And if a woman doesn't want to adhere to those parameters, that's her decision, and it's her prerogative. But you don't have to stay with her. Why should you?
What's wrong with that?
Well, that's teaching men to say no. They don't want men to say no.
So are you arguing that it's better to be with a virtuous woman?
I think so, yes. I know that's
No, I'm serious. I mean,
I am, Tucker. I don't want to.
That seems like good advice.
I don't want to come across as extreme, but yes, I am. And what's actually funny is I really believe most of the things I'm saying were accepted by absolutely everybody 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And now it's public enemy number one. And it's because of the mass influence I have. At one point, I became the most Googled man on earth. At one point. And it's a scary situation I'm in.
But if you're arguing that it's really important for a man to find a good woman, a decent woman, an honest woman, that's the truest thing that's ever been said.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing any man can do. I mean, I can just tell you firsthand.
Oh, thank you very much.
Married 32 years, that's the most important thing. And you think saying that angered people?
Absolutely, because I'm arguing the only way to do that is via masculine excellence. I'm saying in the world we live in today, it's hyper-competitive, and if you want to be the kind of man that has the choice of women to choose a good one, you need to be an excellent man. It's no longer acceptable for you to just be an average Joe or below average. You have to get up, and you have to work hard, and you have to be smart and interesting, and you have to be charismatic and make some money and be in good shape, and you have to try very hard. And unfortunately, for them, if you follow that path as a man and you become successful in those realms, you end up being the kind of person who resists enslavement. You become the kind of person who wakes up and says, no, I don't believe in that. That doesn't make sense to me.
I can't imagine a better message than that.
If you want a good society, so then you have to argue and sit and say, do these people want a happy, functioning society, or do they want something else?
What do you think?
I think that I would never kill myself. And I also...
Just throwing that out there.
And I also think that when you want to conquer a society, you kill the military age males. That's what you do. It's the first thing they've ever done. They walk in and all the men have to have their throats cut. They can't perhaps do that, but they can certainly cut their balls off. And then you can't resist. And I think there's certainly a movement to ensure that there's very little resistance left inside of the number one demographic which is required to resist oppression, which are military age males. And they don't want those kind of people waking up with any kind of self-respect or standards, or to say, no, I don't accept this. I do not need a ninth injection. They don't want that. They want you to sit and say, I don't need it, but the news said so, oh well.
So in the one interview that you and I did, You had a line that I've been thinking about ever since. I thought it was so interesting. I never thought of it before. You said that a lot of people went along with the vax, and that you didn't judge them because facts change. But now that we know that a lot of what we were told was wrong and some of it was a lie, it is a requirement of your own dignity, of your own self-respect to say so.
Completely. And people should apologize. I really do believe. And I have nothing against people who fell for the propaganda, fell for the programming,
Yes,
the vaccine.
yes, I agree.
Fine. But you should wake up and say, I was fooled. I've learned my lesson. I will not be fooled again. But if you were fooled by the MSM and took the injection and you continue to be fooled and you've not self-reflected, you've not realized that they lied to you the entire way, and you now believe the new bunch of lies that are all over the television, then there's something wrong with you.
Or you don't care that you were lied to.
You don't care that you were lied to, because I think a lot of this is actually genuinely cowardice. I think it's a very easy worldview. The life is easier if you accept the news tells the truth.
Yes.
Everything they want me to believe is true. Everything's nice and simple. Good guys, bad guys, doop-de-doop-de-doo. And if you want to actually wake up, it takes a degree of bravery, because then you have to destroy your entire worldview, everything you've ever understood and everything you're told, and you have to really look at the world and go, oh, this is a mess. And that takes bravery. And once again, that's why they don't want men to be brave. They want you to sit there and go, oh, it's easier if just, CNN said, so it must be true.